Hi yogis and welcome to practice. It's Suzanne here coming to you from my home yoga studio. I have a yin practice for you today and it's aimed at opening the windows of the heart. I'm hoping you'll find a renewed spirit, renewed energy with this practice. For practice today you will need a blanket, and if you'd like, a couple of blocks might be helpful. In the practice today, we'll be doing a lot of heart opening, a lot of shoulder opening, so do be mindful if you have any impingements or injury, especially in the shoulder area. Feel free to modify or omit as you need. We will start with some clearing breaths, so find a comfortable seat. You can certainly have that blanket under the hips if you'd like. Sit up tall, maybe even close the eyes, and first things first, start to settle into the breath. If you would like a mantra this morning, I renew my spirit, I energize my spirit, one of those might be a good fit for you. And as we settle in, you might start to think of those things that when you're feeling a little stagnated, maybe a little stale, a little stuck, what energizes you? What renews you? Maybe it's the change of the seasons, a nice hot shower, listening to a podcast. What is it that just adds a little zest, a little pep, a little motivation for you? Take a few more breaths here, just settling in. And I will invite you to bring your hands to your heart. On an inhale, start to reach the arms towards overhead. And exhale out the mouth as you let the arms go. And do that a few more times. Inhale to reach. Exhale. One more time, inhale to reach. Exhale. And then bring the hands to the heart. And as you do, begin to welcome in that intention. Seal it, that intention. I renew my spirit. My spirit is refreshed. I am energized. Whatever fits with you today. When you are ready, drop your chin and blink your eyes open. We will transition to a reclined posture. Coming onto your back, have the feet to the floor, knees up. You might take a moment and windshield wiper the knees just to settle in. Take a couple of breaths here, finding your way to this juxtaposition. We'll come into our first posture, which is a shoulder opener. Shifting to your right side, reach that left arm up all the way up to the ceiling. Take the hand behind the back, placing the back of the hand to the sacrum if you need more room. If you have a little more mobility, move it up the back. So pick a spot you think might work. Roll the left shoulder onto the back and then return. And come all the way onto your back. Notice how you're doing, how that shoulder is. If you're struggling at all, move the hand a little closer to the hip. And if you feel like you have more space, move the hand up towards the shoulders. And then you can stay here, you can be here, or if you might like to walk the feet out. That might add a little bit of intensity. It adds just a little extra body weight to the posture. So pick where you are in a reasonable space where you can breathe. So the other day I was kind of rotating my closet, packing away some of my jeans and sweaters and things that hopefully I won't have a need for a little while, and pulling out shorts and spring and summer gear and while these are all clothes I've had for many of them for years, for a while, it was just fun to have new things, to be refreshed, to be renewed. And it was interesting just, looking at different shirts on hangers or different bottoms in the pile on the shelf. It just kind of made me smile a little bit. And that was one of the inspirations for this class today. It's just that, in springtime when you get to open the windows and rotate your clothes, and you just get that little burst of energy of life that, on a rough day might be just enough to carry you through. Keep breathing here. We're here for a few more breaths. See if you can melt that left shoulder just a little bit more. Find softness and surrender in the body. And if you extended the legs long, start to bring the feet in again. And then just as we came into the pose, shift to your right side, releasing that left arm. Take a moment and just let that arm reach wide, kind of softening. And then on an inhale, draw the left knee to the chest. Bottom knee, right knee can stay bent or it can go long. That's up to you. And start to draw the knee across the body. I like to shift in the hips as well, coming into the twist. When you find your way into the twist, I want you to be mindful of this left shoulder, the one that was just doing the work. Find a place where it can just release and maybe have a gentle reach wide, where the shoulder feels really satisfied and in a happy place. Just giving it a break from that rotation, that opening. And you can play with it here. So for today, it feels good for me to be, kind of out to the side, palm up. You might, see what it feels like to have the palm down, or to change that angle of the arm slightly and just sort of get to know where that shoulder wants to be today. This is the time of year for lots of projects around the home, like painting and gardening and, all points in between. So if you practice and get a little reminder of a project or a job you did, just work around that. Add a little TLC around. As you're in this twist, you might notice the gentle pull across the chest. Oftentimes we focus on the midsection, on the rotation of the spine, but as we are working to open the heart today, opening through the arms, through the shoulders, notice how the poses touch those areas, if they're not always our main focus. Just a few more breaths here. When you are ready to unwind, gently release and come to the back. Back to our starting shape with the feet to the floor, knees up. If you wanted to add like a full body stretch in between there, you're more than welcome to. And as we transition to the second side, shift to your left side. This time, the right arm reaches up. Take the hand behind the back, and this might be very different. I don't have quite as much space on this side personally. Coming onto your back and adjust as needed. And then when you find your way to that shape, that work in the right shoulder, then start to maybe extend the legs, settling in here. So one of the beautiful gifts of yoga in all of its forms, especially yin, because we have these pauses to really be in our thoughts and our energy, is that it helps us to observe and watch the flow of energy. Watch sort of that energy level of our spirit. So if you think of like your Wi-Fi signal or your signal on your mobile phone, we have those little bars. And it's important to take that time to observe not just your physical body and how it's responding and acting, but your energetic, your emotional body as well. And as we tune in, as we hone in, it makes us more aware of those dips, of those times where maybe we need to throw the windows open or rotate the clothes or, change our routine, whatever it is. So if you can, as we practice today, stay in that thought of your energy, your spirit. Maybe you spent all day yesterday in your garden and you're, buzzing like a bee at a higher frequency right now, and you actually need, to ground and settle. Or maybe you're an extrovert who's been cooped up and you just need that lifting, that lightening, that space. Greet your energy, your emotion, wherever it is today. Take a few more breaths here. And if you extended those legs long, start to bring them in. Take a little shift to the left side to release the right arm. And then let the right arm open up wide and find that happy place, similar to what you did on the first side. And on an inhale, hug the right knee to the chest, decide if you want left knee bent or long, and draw that knee into the twist. Reset that right arm, that right shoulder. And settle into the twist, and certainly notice the rotation, the pull through the midsection, maybe a little pull through the hip. But then bring your focus to the heart, that gentle pull across the chest. Maybe the opening through the back body, the points where the shoulders, maybe the back of the heart touch to the mat behind you. Pay special attention to that right shoulder. Maybe playing with the angle of the arm or the placement of the hand. And breathe in this twist. Keep the breath flowing. Stay tied and anchored to your intention. Just a few more breaths here. Slowly start to unwind, coming back to that starting position. With the feet to the floor, knees up, find your block. Lift through the hips and take the block under the sacrum or the support. If you don't have a block, a step stool, a large book, some of those items might work well. And many times we'll walk the legs out to lengthen this posture, but for today, you might consider keeping the feet in. And if you feel stable, take the arms overhead in like a cactus shape. And if you have the space, maybe draw the arms closer together to where you can hold the forearms or elbows. And if that feels like too much, then find maybe a point in between. And breathe. As you're here, observe and notice that space in the heart. If you're holding forearms or elbows, gently switch the dominant hand or the hand on top. Just shift those hands and arms so you have a slightly different feel. Certainly if the reach of the arms overhead feels unmanageable, like too much, Then bring the hands either maybe a little wider to that cactus shape, or release the hands beside the body. In general, in the energetics of postures, back bends, which this is one, although subtle, are thought to be energizing, are thought to be a little ray of sunshine for the energetic body. Keep breathing here, keep connected to that intention of renewing the spirit, of energizing the spirit, of opening the window to your heart. Just a few more breaths here. And then release the arms beside the body. Pause. When you're ready, lift through the hips, remove the support, and come back down to the earth. Stillness or movement, kind of whatever you feel called to at this time. And slowly we'll begin to transition from being reclined to being more upright. You might roll to your side. Certainly you can roll head to toe. But find your way up to a seat. And then we'll keep going forward and find our way to all fours. Now, take those blocks to the top of the mat. And if you don't have blocks, you might need to improvise with a coffee table, with a stool, with some books. I am going to use a blanket under my knees just because we'll be here for a little bit, so I have a little bit of cush. Come forward into all fours. Feel free to take a little cat-cow if you'd like. However you would like to settle into the pose. And we'll be coming into a child's pose, and this can be hips heavy or hips high, depending on what works for you. Your elbows will come onto the blocks. Start in that middle height if you can. You can adjust if needed. Have the elbows, and actually the meaty part of the elbow, on the block with the palms together, fingertips up. So from here, take a little roll of the shoulders and drop the heart. And my blocks are about shoulder width, so my head has space to just hammock in between. Let the heart hammock towards the floor. Let the back of the heart be just a heavy little weight, bringing you into this position. Now try to keep the bicep, the center of the bicep, pointing up to the ceiling. You might even feel a little spiral through the arms there. And then if you have the space, the elbows bend a little further. Maybe the thumbs rest on the base of the neck. If that feels too much, or you feel like you have to splay the elbows to get there, then bring the hands back upright. You'll still get some lovely shoulder opening here. Certainly, if the hang of the head is discomforting, add maybe a rolled blanket or something to bridge the gap there. You could even possibly take the blocks down and maybe the forehead would rest gently on the mat if you wanted that support. And of course, as you're here, breathe. Be in the intention of opening the windows of the heart. Be in the intention of renewing spirit, of energizing spirit. Take a few more breaths here. And slowly start to lift away from the support. You can move the blocks out of the way. Coming up towards an all-fours shape. Feel free to move or cat-cow here if you'd like. And from all fours, the left arm will reach under, coming into a twist. And then kickstand the right leg out to the side so it's a nice stable shape. Now, from here, you can stay here with that right hand to the floor, the left shoulder down, receiving that pressure from the earth. If you feel stable, if you want a little different shape, the right hand will reach up and drape behind the back. And as you're here, the right shoulder sort of draws away from the ear, settling into the twist. There is a lot of activity happening here and supporting of the body, but if you can add that bit of release, that bit of settling. Be in the breath. Invite gravity and relative stillness to do the work. Take just a few more breaths here. And then slowly begin to unwind that top arm first. And then coming back through to the all-fours shape. Taking a moment for a little movement here if you'd like. And then transitioning to the second side when you're ready. The right arm reaches under, bringing that temple to the ground, left leg out to the side like a little kickstand. Just settle the pressure into that right shoulder, staying here, or if you'd like, reaching the left arm around the back. And then, as much as you can, settle into the gravity of the pose. Be in the breath, be with intention here. Taking a few more breaths here. And then begin to unwind, finding your way to all fours, or you might like a moment in a down dog shape as well. When you're ready, stepping the left foot to the outside, the left hand, the back knee comes down. So we're coming into a supported dragon. Now, I'll invite you, especially if you have those blocks, to take the blocks and position them underneath the left hip. And the height of the blocks is just going to depend on where you are today. And certainly if you had like 3 blocks, sometimes that extra little space can be helpful. Once you set the legs, once you feel supported and you're in a good place, take the arms wide. Like you're going to give somebody you love a big, like, bear hug. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, wrap the arms, left arm on top. Do give yourself that hug. And if you want, you can think about that person you love here. Take a few breaths here, just with the arms in this hugging shape. Now, if you'd like, intertwine those arms as you would for eagle and stay a little active here. Keep those elbows just a little bit lifted so they're maybe in line with the shoulders. Keep breathing here. Of course, if you find that this is too much, go back to the hug or take the arms out altogether if you need to. Now, if you want, let the elbows start to droop, start to drop towards the earth. Be kind to your shoulders. So if this doesn't work for you, then don't do it. And breathe. Just a few more breaths here. When you're ready, gently release the arms. You might reach them nice and wide again, or just let them kind of dangle beside the body and pause. And then slowly start to transition your way, coming back to that neutral space, back towards all fours, or if you'd like, a down dog. Sometimes after being on that knee, a down dog can feel good. Take some time here to pedal out, to shift through the hips if you'd like. Cat-cows if you're in all four. And when you're ready, transitioning to the second side, that right foot steps to the outside as the back knee comes down. As you settle in, set your blocks for support, and it might be you might need something different on this side, less or more. Doesn't matter as long as it fits. Take a moment here to settle in, and when you feel stable, reach those arms wide. Imagine that person you're going to give a big old bear hug to. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, hug yourself, but wrap that right arm on top. And just be here for a few breaths. I like to kind of squeeze those shoulder heads towards one another. Now, if you'd like to add on, start to intertwine those hands, finding like an eagle bind of the arms. Stay a little buoyant here with those elbows about as high as the shoulder. And breathe. Staying here, if you'd like, let those elbows get just a little heavy. And when you're ready, gently release the arms, let them drape beside the body. Maybe open up wide again. Take an inhale. And then start to transition out of this posture towards either all fours or down dog again. Take a few breaths here. Certainly take as much time as you'd like. Eventually, we'll meet in a seated posture. And if you have a blanket, I will invite you to take that blanket and unfold it. Find a blanket roll. So it's like a little jelly roll or a little burrito. The blanket's going to go behind you on the mat and have it nice close up to the sacrum. If you have blocks, have those close by because you'll want those for support. With feet to the floor, knees up, and that blanket right up next to the sacrum, recline, running the blanket down the spine. Now, certainly if your blanket's not quite long enough and you want to add extra support on the end, do that. And then walk the feet out so there's just a soft bend in the knee, and bring the feet together. Let the knees butterfly out. And this is where I definitely, even if you don't feel you need the support, add a little support under the thighs, or I like the corners of the blocks right under my knees. And then once you have that settled, again, reach the arms gently wide, but I want you to find a place where they are super happy. So maybe that's like a T, or maybe there's a little bit of an angle. So play a little bit with the range, almost like you're making little yoga angels on the mat. And find a place where you can just settle in. And then once you settle in, take a moment to appreciate the openness you've created through the front and back of the heart with this practice. Maybe spend a few moments here coming back to that intention of renewing spirit, of energizing spirit. Maybe take a moment and focus on that gauge of your energy, your spirit, where you are at this point, what you need at this point. With this focus, with this support, invite the body to settle. Finding relative stillness, relative peace in this moment. Now, if this has become a peaceful or even restful shape, you might stay here a little bit longer, maybe set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes for Savasana. If you prefer to come into a more traditional shape, gently bend your knees, roll to the side, and then set yourself up. Thank you so much for your practice today, for taking this time to renew our spirits together. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. Namaste.